Hi, George here. In today's video, I'll be showing you how to remove the white background from a black and white line drawing and then how to colorize that image. And we'll be going to this as our finish. It's very easy to do, but there are a few steps that you may not know about to get this real nice clean look. We'll be using a lot of layers on this one, layer masks and some adjustment layers. If you want to have more instruction on those specific tools, the best place to get that is with my complete training course for Photoshop Elements. I'll put a link for that at the top of the description. And the first thing we need to do is to make a duplicate of this layer. Right-click where it says background and duplicate layer. Choose OK. That's just our safety, just in case. We're now going to select everything in here in the white with the magic wand. It's up here in the select section. And then come down here, and it's that one right there. It says magic wand. You want to set this at new selection. I'll put my tolerance here fairly low. I'll put it at 7 and uncheck contiguous. There we go. And I'll leave anti-aliasing checked. Contiguous means that it only selects anything which is actually touching. So if I select it in here, it only selects just this section. Without that, it'll select all of the white in the whole image. Okay, click in here. There's all the white selected. And now just hit the delete key. There we go. And that has now deleted that background. But we're not done yet. Control D to deselect. If I zoom in on this real far here, you see we have some gray tones in here along those edges. I want to get rid of those gray tones. It's real easy to see these things. If we add in a new layer, come down here to the background layer, new layer right here. Let's set our colors at black for your foreground, paint bucket, and fill that with black. And you can see that's all the edges that we want to get rid of. Now it's easy to handle. Let's go back up here to our background copy. Go up to layer, come down to new adjustment layer and levels. And where it says use previous layer, just grab that one, choose OK. And in here, notice that almost all of our levels in here on the left-hand side, quite a few through here, that's all this little gray stuff. Just take the left-hand side. This is your black point, pull it all the way to the right. And now everything is solid black. If I hide that black layer, there we go. Let's now tighten up all those edges so we now have a nice, clean, solid black layer in here. And there you go, background removed. Of course, we want to have some content in here, inside the petals, inside of the leaves possibly. So for that, let's come down here to our layer 1 again. Let's make a new layer above that, blank layer. And I'll put in kind of a nice pink color here for the petals. Let's go over to our paintbrush. You want to have a hard edge brush. There we go. And let's go over to our paint. Click on the color swatch right here. Let's find something in the pink range. Kind of like that, kind of a soft pink. Then I'm going to scroll in on this. Now, if I paint in here on that layer, we see the pink in behind the black layer. So it's actually pretty easy to do this, but you want to be careful along your edges. So start with a very small brush and then brush right along where your edges are. Be very careful about that. And this just gives you a bit of working space. Once we have the edges taken care of, I'll use a space bar there to move my image over. So once we have this painted along the edges, I can then go for a larger brush and fill the rest of this in. Okay, let's just come up and around this way. There we go. And up around. So it takes a little bit of patience this way, but it's well worth it. Gives you a really good finished result. Same thing up in here. Now, these aren't going to be any problem because they have a large black area behind them. But wherever there is a problem where it gets close to an edge like this, I'll be making those little parts inside there a nice bright yellow. So wherever it's close, just come in and take the time to make a nice edge. Again, most of these are going to be okay because there's a lot of black surrounding them. But anything where it gets too close, just be a bit more careful with that, like right up in here on that one and some of these areas in here. Just be more careful with this. Now, once you have this stage done, you've outlined everything you want to outline, you then come back in and using the right square bracket key, increase the size of your brush a lot, and then just fill the rest in. Much easier because we don't have to be that careful with that edge. We've already taken care of that edge. Then just go through and fill in the whole rest of that petal. I'll do the rest of the petals off camera, but let me just show you how this looks once I finish this one in here. We'll see how that looks. Bring that around over here. There we go. And then fill in this little section there. Okay, Control 0 to fit on screen. So there's a basic technique for getting your petals. Now I'll pause the video for a second and I'll finish off the rest of these petals up in here. And we'll then do the inner part of the flower. Okay, there we go. Now doing the parts in here, I'll do this in yellow. Same idea, let's make a new layer. There we go. Now the reason why I'm doing a new layer here is so that I can actually come back in and change the color on this layer. I'll show you that in just a second. Okay, we're on the new layer. Let's go over here. Let's change our color. And we're just kind of nice bright yellow. Just like that. We're still on that layer, as you can see over here. Same idea. Let's just scroll in. I'm using the scroll wheel on my mouse. If you don't have that set up, it's up here under Edit and preferences and general. And there's a checkbox right there. Zoom with scroll wheel. That's a really good one to have checked. I'm not sure why that isn't checked by default. Okay, let's bring our brush size down. I'll just use the left square bracket key to bring this down to a small size. And then let's get everything that's just kind of near. There we go. Maybe a little bit smaller. Looks like I missed a little part of pink right there. I'll fix that in just a second. If you see that, it's easy to fix once you've done some of these things. Let's just change our layer. Hold the Alt key down, click into the pink somewhere, and then paint over that. Go back up to our yellow layer. Hold the Alt key down, click into the yellow. And there we go. That just changed the color that fast. And then go around and do anything that's on the outside edges. Same idea. We want to make it easy to fill this in with a larger brush after we do this detail stuff around the edges. So just come in here and fix some of that. Notice that the black didn't enclose that, but that's okay. I went ahead and just butted the two colors up against each other. That's fine. Now keep in mind that your yellow is actually on top of the pink. So if I did over here, you see the yellow is on top of the pink layer. I'll do Control Z to undo that. So if you need to expand that a little bit, the yellow over into the pink, you can. But also be careful that you don't go over those black edges because you will begin to paint yellow onto your pink area. Okay, we're almost done with this little step in here. Just coming in and getting some of these things that are close to the pink area. That's good. Now, right square bracket key, bring the brush size up. And I can then quickly fill in the rest of these. Just a real quick brush through like that. Very easy to do. I'll be doing a different technique for the leaves. Actually, kind of a combined two different techniques for the leaves. And I'll show you that in just a second once this is finished. Because they have a problem. They're big black and looks like black leaves as opposed to being an outline. Okay, Control 0. So the leaves look really bad right now. We'll take care of that in just a second. But first, I want to show you how you can change the color of your flower once it's in here. Go to that layer, go up to Layer, come down to New Adjustment Layer and Hue Saturation. Where it says Use Previous Layer, check that, choose OK. And now you can slide the hue back and forth and change this to any color that you want. It's that easy to do. I'll put it back about where it was. Actually, it would have been at 0 since that's my initial color. You can also make it more saturated or less saturated. Kind of tone that down a bit if you want to. Put that back to 0 again. And you can go lighter or darker on that as well with the lightness control. Notice if I go darker, I lose some saturation. So you want to boost your saturation on that to bring back your saturation. So real easy this way to come in and control your colors very specifically using the hue saturation. But I'll leave mine at my default settings. Okay, let's take care of these leaves. I'm going to do this in 2 steps. This first go up here where it says background copy, and I want to separate the leaf out from the rest of the flower. So for this, I'll be using the polygonal lasso tool. Set this at a new selection, feathering at 0. That's all correct. And I'll zoom in here. And then I want to just kind of eyeball a nice line right around that flower that's kind of matching that thickness of the outline where it's going into the transparent background. And just come around and make a new outline in here. When you're using this tool, don't click too fast or your selection will collapse. Have to start over again. You don't want to do that. Okay, let's come up around here and right up to that outside like that. And then come out and around. You can go outside, that's okay. Hold the space bar to move your image. Come way down here and out and around and back up to your beginning point. When you get close, just double click, and that makes that a selection. Control 0 to fit screen. And then go up here to the top leaf area. I'll zoom in on this, space bar again, same exact thing, but come down here into our polygonal lasso tool options and click add to selection. And then the exact same thing in here, right along this edge and make a new edge for that flower petal right in here. Again, take your time with this tool so you don't collapse your selection. I'm just doing just little clicks in here to make that. And come right around. I'm going to come right along that edge there. And then bring that back in again. And then over here to this side and outside right there. And then out and around those leaves. Back to the beginning, get near it and double click. And that finishes off that selection. Now Control 0. So we have these 2 leaf sections selected. Let's now come up here to Layer, New, and Layer via Copy. And now I have those leaves on their own layer. If I hide the black illustration there we go, have those 2 leaves on their own layer in there, just like that. Let's now come down 1 layer here to the background copy layer. Let's put a new layer above that layer. So this is the coloration for the leaves up here. Same exact idea. I'll come in for a kind of a bright green in here. So let's grab our paintbrush, click on the color picker, and let's find a nice bright green. You're not quite that bright. Just tone it down just a little bit. like that. And same thing, go for a smaller brush and then work around the outside edges. Again, I'm painting behind the black, so it fills it in beautifully. There we go. And just get the ones that are outside. And over in here. Once that's done, I can make my brush size larger, right square bracket key. And then just come in and fill the rest of these in. These are the highlights on the leaves. And you'll see why we did everything else in just a minute. Okay, spacebar, let's check the other side up here. I'll get the middle in here first, like that. And then bring my brush size down, left square bracket key. And let's get these parts that are close to the edges. There you go. I'll close that one off right there, just like that. And then right up in here, I'll go smaller on my brush size right there. It's a pretty small one, close to the edge. There we go. And Control 0. So we have black leaves with that bright green, but I want to have green leaves. So for this, let's go up here to our leaf layer, back up to layer, come down to adjustment layer, and hue saturation again. Make sure that's checked. Choose OK. Now click on colorize, and this adds color into the leaves. Now we don't see anything yet, so take your lightness control and bring that to the right. Bring your saturation up, and you get right up in here, and you begin to see some color on that. There we go. You can adjust the saturation. It's going to be way up towards the edge, as you can see here, and that allows us to get color where the black was, and we had our bright green in behind. And there you go. A real fun, easy way to add coloration and a clean background to a line drawing. If you like this video, hit that thumbs up. Also subscribe so you don't miss any videos in the future, and I'll see you next time.